Good evening and welcome to the main news. I am Tariro Manamiki with Susan Masona at the Sign Language Desk.
And I'm Justin Matlatla. Sibukele Maposa will join us later on from our Montrose studios in Bulawayo. These are the stories we are leading with tonight.
RBZ targets more reserves to back up the Zimbabwe gold.
The ZWG continues to firm against other trading currencies.
In other stories, Harare City Council under scrutiny again for operating without a functional accounting system.
And in sport, former champions FC Platinum, the biggest winners in the weekend's PSL fixtures.
And now we give you the news in detail. In our first story, stable economic conditions are expected to continue as the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe commits to increasing mineral reserves in support of the Zimbabwe gold currency. We get more details from the following report.
Giving an update on future plans to consolidate the value of the Zimbabwe gold in Harare this Monday, Central Bank Governor Dr. John Mushayavanu assured Zimbabweans of long-term stable exchange rates and prices.
When we launched ZIG on the 5th of April, we had 285 million US dollars worth of reserves, which also included 2.5 tons of gold. And as we speak now, we have over 370 million US dollars worth of reserves, which means we have increased the reserves by more than 30% in the 3 months that ZIG has been in existence. And as we continue to collect royalties from the mining companies, we will be buying more gold to increase the reserves. So my assurance to the public is that ZIG has always been and will always be fully covered by reserves in the form of gold, foreign currency balances, and other precious metals.
Monetary authorities are also predicting the local currency to continue firming against other trading currencies.
We are very pleased with the performance of ZIG since it was launched on the 5th of April. I think you will have seen from the figures that have been released that the exchange rate has remained stable, mimicking the price of gold, and also inflation has been tamed. We recorded an inflation of minus 2.4% month on month for May, and for June it was 0.03%, which indicates that prices have been stable ever since the introduction of ZIG.
The stable local currency is expected to facilitate growth in industrial activity and overall economic performance.
ZIG is actually going to be more stable after QPD, because if you recall, when we announced the 50-50 arrangement, the idea was to create increased demand for ZIG, and that is exactly what is going to happen after QPD. You are going to see more and more people willingly selling their US dollars to buy ZIG so that they can pay their tax obligations.
Amid continued stability of the ZIG currency, the International Monetary Fund expects Zimbabwe's inflation to end the year at 7%, while the central bank is projecting an annual inflation of 5%. Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
And more positives being registered on the economic front. Zimbabwe's financial services sector is experiencing an increase in investments driven by diaspora remittances, which rose by 18% during the first quarter of the year.
Diaspora remittances have emerged as a major driver of investments in the country's financial services sector after they rose by 18% to over 490 million United States dollars in the first quarter of the year, compared to 420 million United States dollars during the same period last year. The latest development has left economic analysts convinced that the move will oil the economy in line with the Second Republic's growth targets.
Remittances are of paramount importance to any country's development agenda in the sense that they aid in providing liquidity and the much needed foreign currency in any nation, with Zimbabwe included. You will recall that foreign currency is a very important aspect of the financial service sector because it aids in currency stability and it also capacitates the banks' financial sector's ability to lend for overall economic growth and development. So with the boom in the remittances in Zimbabwe, I think it's a noble initiative and it needs to be aligned in a way that is developmental in nature.
It has played a very significant role, also complemented by the policy direction that the government has adopted to liberalize that sector and give rise to the growth of these small, medium scale and large institutions that offer these remittances. All these have given rise to the growth in the financial sector through growth in remittances.
Financial services companies are also on the increase, offering innovative financial products and services designed to meet the evolving needs of Zimbabweans, hence empowering the broader population with greater financial inclusion.
Remittances make use mostly of the fintech space. You find that most of our traditionally unbanked societies have managed to access these financial services where they access their foreign currency through these fintech centers.
The additional disposable income by remittance recipients translates to increased consumer spending, stimulating various sectors of the economy. Elandmoy, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
The Second Republic has scored another major success after the turnaround of Hwange Colliery Company, which has increased output by more than 100%. The company, which was placed under judicial administration, is on a growth trajectory, riding on an efficient business improvement plan adopted by the new management.
The giant Hwange Coal Company in Matabeleland, North Province, has been in operation for the past 121 years and has been supporting Zimbabwe's key economic sectors such as manufacturing, agriculture and mining. However, financial and operational challenges had threatened the company into total collapse before government took a strategic decision to put it under reconstruction. In a record 2 years, the administrator has turned it from a loss-making position into profitability, producing at least 4 million tons of coal on an annual basis. The turnaround strategy implemented by the administrator was based on unbundling its operations into 6 business units through a flexible management team that initiated several value-adding projects, including the resuscitation of the coke oven battery, which was decommissioned in 2017.
We are in the process of trying to bring back the glory days for Hwange Colliery Company, and among other things that we have embarked on as a company is to look at the mix of our products. Hence the need, why you see the need, we saw that we need to have the battery in place.
In terms of the capacity, it's a 220,000 ton per annum battery. In terms of the commissioning, we are looking at the end of November. That's the planned date of commissioning. It will go through a preheating phase and then we go to the production phase.
A business improvement plan has discarded in-house mining to contract mining, with production volumes shooting to nearly 4 million tons per annum, while its financial position has significantly improved.
We mine 3 products from here: the power coal, the coking coal, and the industrial coal, which we sent to industry. We have employed contract mining. We were producing on our own, and we were producing about 1,200,000 per annum. So when we were put under the construction, we then employed new strategies, and we came up with the standard mining, which is happening everywhere, where you employ contract miners. They will take in all the mining for you. We will do the processing and sending to the market.
Hwange Colliery Company Limited Administrator Mr. Munashe Shava says the company's dark days are over, with the energy company said to propel the economy and industry further after earning $169 million in sales revenue last year.
It was a sorry state. From a financial metric, they were big gross losses. And when we implemented the scheme of reconstruction and the implementation of the BIP revenue, sales revenue is on, 169 million, almost 170 million, against a cost of sales of 123 million, which means that we've got a gross profit of almost 47 million. And in terms of employment, we are around 1.5 employees.
Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Minister Honorable Ziyambi says administration was the best available option to revitalize the colliery company, which was on the verge of collapse.
Since putting Hwange under reconstruction, we have achieved several milestones. And one of the first ones was that when we put it under reconstruction, we successfully got a confirmation by the courts. This is in terms of the Act, so we satisfied the requirements of the Act to proceed. Achieving and complying with the times is evident by the timely formation and registration of 5 new business units which are already functional. Also, the successful payment of all creditors, save for foreign ones, who are now being handled and will be completed in the next 12 months. We've also achieved a successful turnaround of the business fortunes from a loss-making entity to a profit-making entity, creating capacity to organically fund major projects such as new underground mine, processing plants, coke oven, battery, among others.
Hwange's rise has been instrumental in keeping Zimbabwe's lights on, as the company has been constantly supplying new units 7 and 8 of the Hwange power station, as Zimbabwe's industrialization trajectory continues towards the attainment of Vision 2030. Owen Mandova, ZBC News, Hwange.
And still in mining, Zimbabwe has boosted its gold marketability status on the international stage through compliance with the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development standards. Zimbabwe joins a pool of 5 further African countries to implement the accountability initiative for the commodity.
A project mooted in 2021 and culminating in full compliance and implementation, production of the commodity at one of the country's largest gold-producing mine, Rebecca in Bindura, is now strategically positioned on the global market through compliance with the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development standards. The initiative, agreed between Kuvimba Mining House, KMH, and Comstock Private Limited, an international arm of regulatory compliance, will unlock positive value for the sector, according to KMH Acting Group Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Trevor Bernard.
All of the other gold companies that produce and sell gold internationally comply with similar systems. We just wanted to ensure that generally Zimbabwe and the rest of the world understand that we comply with this system and our gold is from a legitimate source.
Falling under the broader umbrella of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development standards, the initiative seeks to ensure accountability and traceability of gold from the mine onto the international market.
It's a requirement with downstream players, so Dubai Good Delivery requires that. So if you go to the DMACC, they want that. The London bullion market demands that those things are there because it's based on EU regulation.
The latest development brings good news for Rebecca Gold Mine, one of the gold clusters under Kuvimba Mining House, who are projecting a slight improvement on gold output this year.
We are expecting to produce about 75,000 ounces of gold. It's a small increase attributed to us processing a bit more volume than last year, a better grade, and also improvement in efficiencies in the plant.
To strengthen its outlook, the gold miner is looking at expanding its tailings storage facility for a deposition rate of above 2 million tons, which has already started on a 47-kilometer hectare extension. Theophilus Chuma, ZBC News, Bindura.
Harare Metropolitan Province is ready to host the 44th SADC Summit of Heads of State and Government after embarking on various projects that are almost complete.
At least 9 out of 11 projects being undertaken ahead of the 44th SADC Heads of State and Government Summit are almost complete, with outstanding works on most of the roads being drainage and signage. This was reviewed by Harare Metropolitan Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Senator Charles Tawengwa, giving an update on the province's preparedness to host this summit.
There are major and massive projects which have been going on and which are still going on here in Harare. If you visit, say, the Mount Hamden area, where the conference, the summit per se will be taking place, the new cyber city. You are aware of the road networks that are being undertaken in the city, in Harare, and around Mount Darwin, Mount Hamden. The revamping of hotels, all the hotels here are being revamped so that our delegates are well accommodated.
Harare's business environment has been improved through various projects being undertaken in line with the Provincial Economic Development Plan.
The VVIP pavilion, those are some of the milestones. And then we also have, in terms of the industrial capacity, enhancing that, we have the champion foods built in Zwarasekwa, Natfarm, Harare National Warehouse, this massive warehouse, which is the national pharmaceutical company. Stonebridge Clinic, say, for instance, in Harare South, the interchange on the road from Masvingo to Harare, the Mbudzi roundabout, as you know it, Zwarasekwa housing flats, the issuing of the title deeds, specifically in Epworth, for instance, which is being spearheaded by His Excellency, the President, as you are aware. Geopomona waste management site.
Harare Metropolitan Province is also gearing up for the SADC industrialization agenda, which seek to promote industrialization, enhance competitiveness, and deepen regional integration. The province has also recorded success stories in the decentralization and devolution agenda through fiscal devolution mechanisms, capacity building and development, as well as the government management system approach. John Nandara, ZBC News, Harare.
Operation Janessa Harare is in full swing, with vendors operating in the Central Business District set to be removed in a development meant to restore sanity in the CBD.
Following the successful launch of Operation Janessa Harare by government, which saw garbage and debris being cleared from the streets, the Harare City Council has announced plans to remove street vendors in a move aimed to further restoring order and sanity to the urban environment. The move was announced by Harare City Council spokesperson Mr. Stanley Gama.
We are heightening our efforts to make sure vendors operate from designated points. In Harare we have more than 500,000 registered vendors, and more are still coming to register. So it's a problem for us as City Council. It's also a problem for government. So we need to work together to make sure we get rid of the vendors, not only for SADC, but for the cleanness of the city and for better conditions in the city.
Meanwhile, a Vendors Initiative for Social and Economic Transformation, VSET Executive Director Samuel Wadzai, has urged the Harare City Council to consider the needs of vendors and explore alternative solutions that will not jeopardize their livelihoods.
We understand and we appreciate calls by local authorities to ensure that our streets are clean, to ensure that as vendors we work from clean environments. We need to come up with measures to ensure that we create more spaces for vendors to operate from.
Harare is poised for a transformative rebirth as the city launches a comprehensive drive to restore order and revitalize its urban landscape after government read the Riot Act.
Concern has been raised over the mushrooming of unregistered private schools and colleges which do not meet the required operational standards. More details in the following report.
At close range, one would mistake the private school as an abandoned property. Nestled in the vicinity of the Adbeni industrial area, the unregistered school has been illegally operating for close to 3 years, enrolling Form 1 to Form 6 students. It is, however, the poor infrastructure, coupled with non-adherence to prescribed education standards, that has been flagged down.
Chisi registered tori process yacho saka zvinodiwa zvacho zvakati wandei asati akwanisa kuzvimita. Tora Form 1 to Form 4. Vana vatinotora isusu hatimbotarisa ma-units saka tinotora vese.
Concerned members of the public added their voice expressing concern over the poor standards.
Zviri kutokonzeresa because imwe education yacho yakuita kunge yakadzikira kunge isingachashandi
nokuti chikoro chakuwanikwa kana uko sekumaraini kumwe kusingatombozikanwi chikoro chowanika chinzi chiriko kwa pachinoregister.
Maschools ngaite registered ape vana education yakakodzera kana vachinyoresa angave kana ari O level exams dzinoda kunyorwa ngadzinyorwa ipapo kwete kuti vanozonokumbira senda nhamba kune chimwe chikoro. That is not.
Communication and Advocacy Director in the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education, Mr. Taunga Nandoro, said all schools should operate within the legal framework for proper monitoring and regularization.
All those schools that continue to remain unregistered will be sanctioned by the ministry going forward. We are continuously doing it, continuously monitoring the environment so that we are able to weed out all unregistered schools. It is therefore our clarion call as the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education that any school that is unregistered should approach our district offices, our provincial offices, or our head office so that they are able to be registered.
The Second Republic is championing the heritage-based Education 5.0 model by equipping schools with modern facilities to ensure there is quality, equitable, and inclusive education. Festus Mkungurutse, ZBC News, Harare.
Government is collaborating with the church in actioning the drug demand reduction strategy pillar under the multi-sectoral drug and substance abuse plan launched by President Emmerson Mnangagwa last month.
The need to action the drug demand reduction strategy in communities was central in deliberations between religious leaders and the Ministry of Youth Empowerment, Development and Vocational Training in Harare this Monday. Government is convinced religious organizations are critical vehicles in actioning the multi-sectoral drug and substance abuse plan launched by the President last month.
As religious organizations, you play a critical role in shaping the development of our youth and do have programs in place that are dedicated to molding and guiding them as they traverse the delicate phase of transitioning from childhood to adulthood. These programs promote values of compassion, empathy, tolerance, and righteousness to help them grow into responsible citizens of our communities and country.
Religious leaders believe the plan will harmonize efforts to combat drug and substance abuse while backing the revisited Youth Service in Zimbabwe program.
Welcome very much the program that the President has launched on the drug and substance abuse plan, which is very, very powerful, and we are grateful for that. One of the key issues that was raised this morning is the issue of how the church can come in to support. So we are saying, number one, the church or the religious arm of this nation must find itself back in the schools to help our young people.
Chirongwa chakaiswa nemutungamiriri wenyika chekutarisana nevanhu vanotora zvinodhaka isusu tinofara nokuti mumascriptures mwedu muQuran nemumabhaibheri Mwari anotoramba kutora zvinhu zvinodhaka. Because kana muchitora zvinhu zvinodhaka hakuna development munyika.
Ndiri kuona kuti zvavatsanangura kune vakuru vemachurches zvikaenda kunoimplementwa nyika ichadzokeredzana pakare uyezve vana vedu vachatanga kuona kuipa kwokushandisa madrugs.
Government strategies to reduce drug demand include empowering youth through 45 vocational training centers and 25 satellites under the Ministry of Youth Empowerment, Development and Vocational Training to transform youth from idleness to productivity. Wellington Makonese, ZBC News, Harare.
Remember, you can get these and other stories on our website at www.zbcnews.co.zw. You can also check our social media platforms on Facebook, X, as well as on YouTube and our WhatsApp channel. We are at ZBC News Online.
And now here's stories still to come in this bulletin. Harare City Council under scrutiny again for operating without a functional accounting system. Former champions FC Platinum, the biggest winners in the weekend's PSL fixtures. We take a break, but we'll be right back. Stay with us.
This is the currency we've been waiting for. A currency that's not just paper and coins, but a symbol of Zimbabwe's rich resources and stability. That's Zimbabwe Gold. This is ZIG. Let's dive into what makes ZIG not just a new currency, but a new beginning for Zimbabwe's economy. ZIG is born out of a blend of traditional and innovative financial wisdom, anchored in gold and precious metals, along with foreign currency reserves. This backing isn't just for show. It's a promise of stability and trust, ensuring that ZIG's value is as solid as the gold it's pegged to. From the bustling markets of Harare to the serene landscapes of rural Zimbabwe, ZIG is set to become the medium of exchange that's both reliable and accessible, with denominations ranging from ZIG 200 to ZIG 1 and even handy coins. It caters to every transaction, big or small. Transitioning to ZIG is a breeze. It's all about inclusivity, ensuring no one is left behind in Zimbabwe's financial renaissance. ZIG doesn't walk alone. It co-circulates with other foreign currencies under Zimbabwe's multi-currency system, enriching our financial landscape. It's a legal tender that not only simplifies transactions, but also restores confidence in our economy, promising a future where stability and growth go hand in hand. So why ZIG? Because it's more than just money. It's a symbol of Zimbabwe's resilience, a step towards an economy where stability is the norm, and every Zimbabwean can look forward to a prosperous future. Welcome to the era of Zimbabwe Gold, where our currency is our pride.
75 days since the last day of last season. We are ready to do it all again.
Phil Foden is having the season of his life. Brilliant! Just brilliant! That is quite something!
Get all your football needs with DSTV for Business. Visit dstv.com/business and find the package that suits your business. They'll love it here.
Today's life is action-packed, hectic, and full of opportunity. You're off to the next big meeting, returning home from an important business trip, or you step out of your bubble to find your next adventure. Whatever your journey, we have a solution. A car for every occasion, be it leisure or business. At Impala Car Rental, for over 15 years, we've been catering for all Zimbabweans from all walks of life, using technology to make travel smarter and more affordable. Where will your road take you? Hit the road whenever, wherever. Impala Car Rental, celebrating 15 years of service excellence.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. The Harare City Council has once again come under scrutiny for operating without a functional accounting system amid serious concerns around transparency and accountability.
The Commission of Inquiry into Governance Issues at Town House, led by retired High Court Judge Justice Mafias Cheda, has uncovered a staggering web of alleged corruption and misappropriation of funds at the Harare City Council. Giving evidence before the Commission of Inquiry in Harare this Monday, Acting Auditor General Mrs. Reya Kujinga highlighted a disturbing pattern of financial mismanagement.
There was non-compliance with the International Public Sector Accounting Standard, IPSAS 4, the effects of changes in foreign exchange rates in the prior financial year. The Council could not comply with the provisions of IPSAS 4. Then also there was non-compliance with IPSAS 34 and IPSAS 35. The Council did not account for investment in its subsidiary in the separate financial statements as required by IPSAS 34. In addition, the consolidated financial statements, paragraph 5, which requires a controlling entity to present consolidated financial statement. The Council accounted for its investments in subsidiaries. There was also non-compliance with IPSAS 18 segment reporting. The Council did not disclose its its segments. The Council recognized property, plant and equipment amounting to 13 billion ZW for the year ended December 2020. However, a disclaimer of opinion was issued on the prior year financial statements.
Procurement Regulatory Authority of Zimbabwe Chief Executive Officer Mr. Clever Ruswa also gave submissions corroborating the Acting Auditor General's findings.
The city of Harare was using the BIQ as its enterprise resource planning since 2005. And following some contractual disagreements related to licensing fees with the authorized service provider, and in this particular instance, that's Quell Associates Private Limited, the service provider switched off City of Harare, resulting in the City of Harare operating without the enterprise resource planning since February 2019.
President Emerson Mnangagwa appointed a commission led by retired High Court Judge Justice Cheda to investigate the Harare City Council with a particular focus on governance issues since 2017.
And now we cross over to our Montrose studios where we join Sibukele Maposa, who will take us through the next couple of stories from that end. It's a good evening and it's over to you, Sibu.
Thank you very much, Justin. Good evening, Zimbabwe. Let's carry on with the news. Government says it is committed to creating a conducive business environment that stimulates growth of the micro, small and medium enterprises in the country. Let's hear more.
Chinoi was the focal point of this year's commemorations of the International Day of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, MSMEs, where entrepreneurs had an opportunity to showcase their products and services. The day was commemorated on the back of several government interventions which are stimulating the growth of the sector through availing of working capital and space.
Platform yatiri kupiwa tiri kuona iri kukwanisa kunge ichizenge ichitipinza mumamarkets nekuwana publicity and so forth. We are very happy.
Tatokwanisawo kuya nefoster kid yangu iyi akukwanisawo kuruka kugadzira ma-earrings, kugadzira ma-key holders burikidza nemari yatakawana kuwomen bank.
Zigi rinotibatsira nokuti imari yemuno, imari inokwanisa kuwanikwawo nemunhu wese. Saka isusu pabusiness redu rinototibatsira zvakanyanya.
The government is doing a lot in supporting all that through providing an environment where we are engaging with the local authorities, we are engaging with we are being linked to other SME associations around the globe.
Zvinoita kuti famba nenyaya yeformalization inova donzo regovernment re-NDS want to formalize so that ma-SMEs edu achitanga kucontribute to the national fiscus.
We are going to introduce entrepreneurship masterclasses for all the provinces and districts in Zimbabwe so that we capacitate those that are trying to pull themselves up in terms of business.
The Minister of Women's Affairs, Community, Small and Medium Enterprises Development, Senator Monica Mchangwa, reiterated government's commitment towards creating an enabling environment that stimulates the growth of the sector.
I've seen it in many other areas where I've gone, where local authorities have actually gone into a partnership with SMEs and our ministry, provided land, and SMEs have built state-of-the-art centers. SMEs are selling their wares in a very decent place, dignified, and the advantages is we want to collect revenue, and you know the Ministry of Treasury needs that revenue to develop our country.
The United Nations also pledged its support in capacitating the MSMEs.
The world is facing unprecedented challenges, from economic instability to the impact of climate change, such as the current El Nino-induced severe droughts and global pandemics. MSMEs have withstood the worst of these crises and continue to show remarkable resilience. In Zimbabwe, the story of MSMEs is a testament to resilience and innovation amidst economic downturns, hyperinflation, and a challenging business environment.
Meanwhile, MSMEs account to close to 70% of the country's gross domestic product. Tamuka Charakupa, ZBC News, Chinoi.
The housing scheme for the youths launched by the government in Chipinge is set to transform lives with the Town Council and Empower Bank committed to ensuring the success of the project.
Youth who attended the ZANU-PF inter-district meeting at Tanganda Ward in Chipinge this Sunday are looking forward to the future with hope after getting the necessary support for their housing scheme.
Ndoda kutenda program yakainitiatwa na President Nangagwa yekuti hakuna anosara, hakuna nzvimbo inosara. Saka tirikuona seve chidiki isusu tasimudzirwa zvakanyanya because pazera rangu izvozvi kutaura kunoko ndatowa landlord.
Ndandisina mari inokwanisa kuti nditenge stand yangu kukanzuru. Asi pari zvinezvi ndaa landlord.
Ndoita kuti vanhu va youth vaone kukosha nekunaka kwa president.
The Empower Bank pledged to support the project from the servicing of residential stands to construction of low-cost houses, while Chipinge Town Council outlined the land development plan.
Tikubatsira mayouth nekuapa maloni ekuti vabhadhare mari nechidiwa nekanzo yekusevhisa mastands, and then tapedza kusevhisa mastands tichavabatsira futi nekuvavakira ma-low cost houses avanozokwanisa kubhadhara over a period of 10 to 15 years.
500 stands have been title surveyed, and we have tendered for 800 stands which are also being title surveyed to cover the already people who have applied for the stands. And after that, we want to open some roads, water.
The program has also been described as a testimony of President Emmerson Mnangagwa's vision to empower youth and promote inclusive development.
Vari kufamba nenyaya yemastands. Mastands avari kupa kumayouth iri development yavari kufamba nayo vachitsigira muono wavo comrade ED Mnangagwa nyaya yemastands kumayouth kuvapa nhaka kuti vana vedu vange vaine nhaka yamangwana.
Tinoda kutenda chekutanga vaMnangagwa kuti pavakabudirira paelection vakatarisa kuti mayouth ese ngatiite zvokuita mari, ngatinangana ine vision 2030 yekuti umwe neumwe ange ane chakabata pamumba make zvinoraramisa mhuri yake. Nekudaro kuno kuChipinge tinoda kuatenda baba wedu vaMnangagwa because wakakwanisa kuti tive tine mastands.
Meanwhile, the ZANU-PF inter-district meeting saw youth pledging unwavering support to President Emmerson Mnangagwa. Kenya's Chivuje, ZBC News, Chipinge.
The adoption of artificial intelligence in Zimbabwe has gained international support for local institutions of research and development. More from the following report.
The Zimbabwe Peace Building Initiative, ZIMPI, is hosting an Australian delegation of data scientists led by Professor Jeff Webb and Mr. Richard Webb to promote the adoption of artificial intelligence, AI, in Zimbabwe.
I'm very interested to explore with Zimbabwean institutions what is happening here with agricultural informatics. In Australia, we refer to this as digital agriculture, which is the use of data and online monitoring systems and control systems to increase productivity in agriculture.
It's not for me to tell Zimbabweans how they may best use these powerful technologies to their advantage. What I hope I'm able to do is to help increase understanding about what the opportunities are so that Zimbabweans are empowered to use them to achieve their end.
Chairperson of Zimbabwe Peace Building Initiative, Senator Sekai Holland, says the visit aims to bridge the gap in AI policy and programs in partnership with government and the private sector.
We see our role as being to bridge the gaps that we find in policy and programs, but we do this in partnership with government. So on AI, we find that the debate is growing and developing, and we see a gap. And so we engage with government institutions, with the private sector, with those that are involved with anything to do with AI, so that our government is encouraged to come up with an AI framework, AI policy.
The delegation's visit is part of ZIMPI's Goodwill Peace Building program, which seeks to promote international support for research and development of AI technology in Zimbabwe. Farai Gwaze, ZBC News, Harare.
And that'll be all from the Montrose News Desk. I am Sibigele Maposa. Now circling back to Pocket Hill, where Tariro and Justin will take us through the rest of the bulletin. Good evening.
Thank you, Sibu. Government has reiterated its commitment to improving the welfare of war veterans. This came out at a provincial war veterans meeting held at the Chinhoyi University of Technology.
Free medical screening for the participants was the key highlight event at the Mashonaland West Provincial War Veterans Meeting held at the Chinhoyi University of Technology this Saturday. The war veterans also had an opportunity to interact with their national leaders.
Vazhinji vedu tiri varwere saka nokurwara ikoko tinonzwa kusununguka kana tarapiwa tozonzwa zvemashoko.
Tafanira kunge tigara tichingosangana tidai kuzviona sitatorapwa ndadora ndiri murwere.
Kodwa kathesi ngiyathaba ngoba sengizizwa ngcono. Siyalachiwe sasiphiwa amaphilisi mahara sangasibhadale even isenti.
War Veterans Leadership spoke on the need for an inclusive programming that also benefit the sector.
Zvakakosha kuti kana implementing arm yegovernment kana ministry inoimplementa mapolicies yegovernment yabva kupati vakange vari kuita ngatishandiranei pamwechete navo kuti tirege kudarikwa nezvirongwa zvebudiriro.
Vanhu vari kuvhenekwa zvirwere zvavanoti non-communicable diseases dzezi kuti vanenge vanazvo vatoitwe forewarn varapwe. Vamwe vari vabatwa nechirwere kana neBP anobva apuwa chinyi mushonga plus minduro zhinji dzavanga vaine mibvunzo nadzo Minister vakwanisa kudzipindura.
Veterans of the Liberation Struggle Affairs Minister Senator Monica Mavunga assured war veterans of continued government support, while her counterpart, Mashonaland West Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Marian Chombo, implored them to join government in fighting the scourge of drug and substance abuse.
Zvakaiswa mumutemo saka zvinhu zvichatoita chete. Nevarwi vehondo yerusununguko ndinokumbira ruoko rwenyu kuti batsirane padenda rapinda munyika yedu, denda rekushandiswa kwezvinodhaka.
Meanwhile, war veterans were also implored to give consent regarding the need to be buried at dedicated heroes' shrines for preservation of history and the symbolism it holds. Tamuka Charakupa, ZBC News, Chinhoyi.
60 individuals drawn from Chimanimani district, have successfully completed a first aid training course for road crash first responders as the government moves in to reduce road carnage.
The first aid training course for road crash first responders certification held in Chimanimani this weekend left villagers determined to play their part in reducing casualties as a result of road traffic accidents and other disasters.
adonha kana pamugwagwa zvinotiitawo kuti tigare vanhu tichiziva kuti tikasangana nenjodzi tinoiovercome sei kana tinosavha life yemunhu sei.
Tapiwa macertificates edu aya efirst aid amuri kutoona ndakabata aiwa tikuzwa kufara zvisingaiti because taukwanisawo kana kubatsira njodzi chaitika murodhi vanhu vachakuwara chiri kudzimba kuti zvese zvichaitika taukwanisawo kudini kumirira chinyi vanhu ivavo tichivabatsira kusvikawo maambulensi asvika.
Program administrators from the Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe and the Zimbabwe Red Cross Society as well as government officials outlined the vision and the scope of the program aimed to save lives.
Tiri kurasikirwa nevanhu pamusana pekushaya ruzivo rwakakwana rwefirst aid. Nyange nebhaibheri shoko raMwari rinotaura kuti vanhu vanoparara nekushayiwa zivo. Naizvozvo isu veTraffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe neRed Cross tiri kufamba nyika yese tichidzidzisa vanhu first aid kuti vakwanise kubatsira panjodzi.
Certificate zvakare vari kuwana or the training yavakawana
both, it's a life-saving skill and an empowering skill. Inokwanisa kuti panoita dambudziko vakwanise kuresponda. Kana panoita mukana wekuti parudiwa munhu kuti ange achishanda, certificate rate goes towards what is internationally recognized.
Manicaland is committed to working with all relevant authorities in this region and to play our role in the implementation of strategies adopted with the intention to promote road safety.
The Deputy Minister of Transport and Infrastructural Development, Honorable Joshua Sako, who was representing Minister Felix Mona, is convinced that the training program that will be rolled out across the country will reduce road carnage.
As government, we noted with concern an increase in the number of people who lose their lives during the golden hour. The golden hour is the first hour after a road crash has happened. Ladies and gentlemen, in trauma care management, road crash victim survival is largely time dependent, and a prompt response can be a matter of life and death.
It also emerged government is reviewing legislation to establish a road agents that will have arresting powers and establish a road accident fund. Kenya's Chivuje, ZBC News, Chimanimani.
And in news from beyond our borders, Kenyan police have arrested a man suspected to be behind the gruesome murder of 9 women whose mutilated bodies were found in a disused quarry.
33-year-old Jomaisi Kalisia has allegedly confessed to killing 42 women, including his own wife. According to reports, Kalisia said he disposed of 42 female bodies at the dumping site, about 100 meters from his house. Police found evidence in his house which includes 10 mobile phones, a laptop, identity cards, female clothes, and a machete believed to have been used to dismember the victims. 9 sacks like the ones used to dispose of bodies were also found in his house. The victims were aged between 18 and 30.
There was a high turnout during the presidential elections in Rwanda, with incumbent President Paul Kagame, who has been in power since 1994, largely expected to be re-elected. President Kagame's opponents include Frank Habineza of the Democratic Green Party of Rwanda and independent candidate Philippe Mpayimana. According to the Rwanda National Electoral Commission, NEC, voting started at 7 a.m. and closed at 3 p.m. with counting already underway.
Former U.S. President Donald Trump is this Monday expected to receive the Republican Party's formal nomination for the 2024 presidential elections slated for November. Trump survived an assassination attempt on Sunday, and he has since called for unity and resilience. Reports say the gunman's motive is still a mystery, and investigations have shown that he was a Republican supporter based on the available database. Meanwhile, President Joe Biden has ordered an independent security review of the attack, which killed a bystander and critically wounded 2 others. The FBI are investigating the shooting as a potential act of domestic terrorism.
On that note, we take a break, but when we come back, we'll give you the odds. Stay tuned.
The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe announces a new initiative to ensure sufficient local currency in circulation. Starting June 10, swipe for Zig Cash at any HomeLink branch using your debit or credit card. Available in your Zig denominations 1, 2, 5, and 10 Zig. You can exchange your foreign currency for Zig Cash at the prevailing interbank exchange rate. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe is ensuring that adequate Zig Cash is available for all, be it in public transportation, retailers, informal traders, and other key stakeholders. For more information, visit your nearest HomeLink branch. Thank you.
Zimbabwe, where the sun kisses the earth, lies a world of endless opportunity.
Here, amidst the vibrant colors,
and lively exchanges, the spirit of abundance lives. Allow yourself the opportunity to connect and innovate. See the future of your business at the 114th edition of the Zimbabwe Agricultural Show. Filled with ideas, new and radical, that are cultivating prosperity, growing business, innovating for change, and nurturing our future. From agriculture to agribusiness, and from agricultural education to agri-tourism, every sector finds a place to flourish here, where companies unveil their latest innovations and network with current and potential markets. SAS 2024, where the future of all business sectors is being written today.
75 days since the last day of last season. We are ready to do it all again.
Phil Foden is having the season of his life. Brilliant! Just brilliant! That is quite something!
Upgrade to Compact for $29 per month to get all the Premier League football action.
Life is beautiful. Soft care. So fit, so right.
Welcome back. The ZWG is getting buy-in from creatives, with more than 10 renowned musicians celebrating the success of the new currency through a song dubbed Vamudara.
Taking time to celebrate the milestone through their craft.
High-quality alcohol-free red common bricks for sale at affordable prices. Visit U Dow Bricks at Chikurubi Prison Farm, Harare. We are also recruiting salespeople.
75 days since the last day of last season. We are ready to do it all again.
Phil Foden is having the season of his life. Brilliant! Just brilliant! That is quite something!
Upgrade to Compact for $29 per month to get all the Premier League football action.
In today's fast-paced world, paying in Zig is not just about exchanging physical cash. It's about tapping into the electronic payment space, where convenience meets technology. On Zimbabwe's stable, safe, sound, and efficient national payment system, experience seamless transactions at your fingertips, anytime, anywhere. Join the future of payments today with Zig. Secure, reliable, effortless. Pay the smart way. Pay with Zig.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. We now give you the sports news. Former champions FC Platinum emerged the biggest winners at the weekend after extending their lead at the top of the Castle Lager Premier Soccer League table to 5 points.
With the nation's focus fixed to honor the Battle of Zimbabwe between Dynamos and Highlanders at Rufaro Stadium, former champions FC Platinum confirmed that they are real due after extending their lead at the top of the log with a 3-1 demolition of New Boys Chegudu Pirates at Baobab Stadium. The Platinum Miners, who won 4 league titles on the bouncer before it was restored by Ngezi Platinum last season, have reinvented their squad and the project seems to be coming of age. The Shavane-based side has been on an impressive 9-match unbeaten run, winning 7 encounters during that period. They have been impressive on both ends of the pitch, scoring the highest number of goals after finding the back of the net 27 times, while the defense has been solid, conceding just 12 goals. The Norman Mapesa coached side is at the apex with 38 points and hot on the heels against the Platinum Stars with 33 points. The defending champions are on a roll, winning 7 matches on the trot as they chase their cousins at the top. Simba Bora third with 33 points, separated by Ngezi Platinum on goal difference after edging Manica Diamonds 1-0 at Wadzanai Stadium. Early pace setters Manica Diamonds seem to be losing steam and now conclude the top 4 with 32 points. Traditional giants Highlanders remain 5th despite getting national bragging rights after beating Dynamos 2-0, while the Harare Giants remain 6th on the log. At the other end of the table, Areno Movers are still at the bottom with 11 points, while Wange are now on 13 points, with Chegutu Pirates on 16 points, and T1 conclude the bottom 4 with 18 points. Lawrence Tusira, ZBC News, Harare.
And staying with soccer, but this time now looking at women's football, Herentals Queen striker Prudence Zwawanda has become the toast of the women's top flight after scoring her 11th goal of the season as the defending champions returned to their winning ways.
Defending champions Herentals Queens suffered their first defeat of the season last week and they faced with the task of overcoming a stubborn Maninge Youth Academy as they seek redemption. Maninge Academy have emerged as giant killers in the women's top flight, taking points from most of the big teams, and on Saturday they nearly wrote the same script. With the match seemingly headed for a draw, up-stepped Prudence Zwawanda in added time to snatch the winner for the defending champions. The 22-year-old Zwawanda has been consistent, scoring 26 goals in the league 2 years ago, before finding the back of the net 18 times last season. Herentals are still top of the league, courtesy of a superior goal difference over second-placed Chapungu, who thumbed Mutare City 7-0. Herentals and Chapungu have 27 points apiece, with 8 wins, 1 draw, and a loss each. Third place, the Black Rhinos Queens were not in action at the weekend, while Correctional Queens kept pace with log leaders after walloping Hope Academy 9-0. ZRP Harare are rooted at the bottom of the log without a single point, while MSU, Mutare City, and Hope Academy are not too far ahead. Lawrence Tusera, ZBC News, Harare.
Chevron's captain, Sikandar Raza, believes the national cricket team's rebuilding is on track despite the T20 series defeat to India at the Harare Sports Club.
Zimbabwe suffered a 4-1 humbling to India in the 5-match T20 series. The Chevrons won the first match of the series before the recently crowned world champions flexed their muscles to win 4 matches on the trot. Zimbabwe fielded a young squad as they have set their sights on qualifying for the 2026 T20 World Cup. Despite the series defeat, Chevron's captain Sikandar Raza believes they are on the right track.
The scoreline doesn't suggest. I think we got outplayed in 1 out of the 5 games. The other 4 games have been very competitive, winning 1 and losing the other 3. But I just think that when we find ourselves with a sniff, I don't think so. We are still taking our chances. For me, there's been a lot. I'm always a guy who always look at the positive things. There's been a lot of positives, but I cannot keep my eyes closed on the things that we really have to work on. And I think it's important to address the fact that we have made a lot of mistakes in the field that had allowed the opposition to come into the game again and again and again. But if somebody asked me, would I change my mind about this team? No, I think we have all the right ingredients to be a mid-table team very soon.
Zimbabwe are set to shift their attention to the one-off test match against Ireland, slated for the end of this month in Belfast. Lawrence Tusera, ZBC News, Harare.
And that's a wrap of sport. Next, the weather.
Thank you for joining us. It is time for your evening weather report and forecast. My name is Benjamin Kwaramba. Well, nippy conditions across the country in all areas, and we reported slight ground frost over Matopos, Nyanga, Plumtree and Henderson. In the satellite images received this afternoon, they show mostly clear skies over Zimbabwe there. And these conditions, we expect them to continue into the forecast period. Tomorrow, we expect all areas of the country to be under clear skies. But there's a patch of cloud expected over Masvingo area. Again, it should be very cold in all areas, becoming mild to warm later. Expect some slight ground frost, especially over areas that lie on high ground. Now, for the temperatures in detail, the capital city, Harare, expect a minimum of 13 and a maximum of 29 degrees Celsius. Kobulawayo, 10 and 30. 5 and 28 is expected at Gweru, 8 and 29 at Mutare, Kwekwe 7 and 29, 7 and 30 is expected at Kadoma. Masvingo starting off 13, maximum 29, Chinoi 7 and 31, 4 and 32 is expected at Lupane, 7 and 30 at Bindura, Marondera 4 and 28, Gwanda 8 and 29. Victoria Falls 10 at first, 31 maximum. Kariba 12 and 32, 9 and 29 is expected at the ancient city, that's Great Zimbabwe. 4 and 26 at Nyanga, Matopos 5 and 28, Chimanimani 14 and 28 degrees Celsius. Day after tomorrow, in the outlook period, we expect again all areas of the country to be under clear skies, very cold at first, becoming mild to warm later. Well, that does it in tonight's edition of the Weather Report and Forecast. Let's make a date again tomorrow at the same time. Good evening, Zimbabwe.
And that brings us to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us to you, have a good night.
Good night.